After a 4-game 2-2 road trip, the Brewers are happy to be back home for another week at Miller Park as they open up a 4-game series against the San Francisco Giants. The All-Star Corey Hart swinging the hottest bat in the National League, and Ryan Braun set to start the All-Star game. They'll put their bats in motion against the Giants. And Sandoval, another All-Star for the San Francisco Giants, and they're coming off a big 15-inning, 5.5-hour loss on Sunday to Colorado, so we'll see how tired their bats are. The Brewers, last time they were home, a big 9-game homestand, they won 6 of those contests. Looking to continue that string here this afternoon. And a home run swing, 102 and counting for the Brewers, tied for the league lead. The big question, though, Yovani Gallardo's health status. He was just updated by Dr. William Ross. The update is the oblique strain that he suffered yesterday is definitely there. However, Yovani Gallardo will not be going on the disabled list. That's the good news. Not sure if he'll be able to make his start this week, but there's your latest on Yovani Gallardo. Jerry Augustine, Craig Kashan back on board. It is a big week, whether Yo pitches or not. Maybe he won't later in the week. This is the final 7 games before the All-Star break. And the Brewers got to keep something going here and get back on track at home to stay in contention.
Well, there's no question, Craig. When you look at it, they're playing the Giants who are struggling. Then you have the team in the bottom of the division, the Pirates. This is where you set up your second half. You would like to see this team come in, go 6-1, 5-2, really take off where they were last homestand. Very big series for this Brewer ball club.
Well, the first of 4 in a row here against the Giants. And Dave Bush will be out on the hill for Milwaukee. He's been at his best most recently. Why must that continue here in game 1 of the homestand? BA and Rock lend us their expertise as we continue our coverage.
Home improvement needs. By AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And by the new Miller Lite Vortex bottle. Taste greatness. A new homestand begins here today. It's the Brewers and the Giants, and Dave Bush is ready to go for Milwaukee. Bush and the Brewers. Dave with his 15 starts this year, trying to get that win-loss percentage turned around, but he's actually been pitching a lot better here as of late. And hi, everybody. Brian Anderson along with Bill Schroeder. Welcome back from Miller Park. good homestand coming up here, Rock. You've got 4 with the Giants, and then the Brewers will have 3 more with the Pirates at the end of this series. So in all, it's going to be 16 of 20 here at home, and now's the time to get moving. And Dave Bush is going to be the guy to hopefully get them started.
Yeah, he's doing the baseball pretty well. His last 3 starts, he's only allowed 5 combined runs. His last time out, a little bit shaky with the control. He walked 5 batters. He picked up the loss, but only gave up 2 runs. So overall, in his last 3 starts, that covered 15 days. Dave Bush has been pretty good.
Well, it is a paid holiday today. We hope you'll stay with us and enjoy a little big league baseball. We're back at Miller Park. It's game 1, the Brewers and the Giants, and it's coming up next on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Right now, the Brewers at the top of the list. 37 home runs combined between Corey Hart and Prince Fielder. Corey Hart, of course, making the All-Star team. His second All-Star appearance coming up. The Brewers are tied for first in the National League with 102 home runs this season and third in all of baseball. Brian Anderson, Bill Schroeder, Mark Kincannon with you as we get set for game 1 of this 4-game series. The Giants are in town, and here's a club 7.5 games back of the San Diego Padres. They are reeling as of late. Bruce Bochy's club has dropped 8 of their last 10. Today, Bochy sends to the mound Jonathan Sanchez, a talented left-hander who has a no-hitter on his profile in his career. Here's the lineup for the Giants. It's brought to you by Subway. Andres Torres, the speedster, leading off. Then Freddie Sanchez with Aubrey Huff, Pat Burrell, Pablo Sandoval, and Juan Uribe in the middle. Buster Posey, talented young catcher. Travis Ishikawa at first, and Jonathan Sanchez rounding it out. And the Mercedes-Benz numbers on Dave Bush. Rock?
Well, he's won 2 of his last 3, and Dave Bush all of a sudden really You know, turning things around. They skipped him a couple of starts ago, but on his regular turn rest here today.
First pitch is a strike, and away we go here at Miller Park. It is a cloudy, very warm afternoon here in Milwaukee. For now, the roof is open, but some thunder shower activity is around us, and there's talk that they might have to close the roof. And if they do, it will steam up in a hurry. We'll have to put some water on the rocks.
It's okay. Good day for baseball. Doesn't matter. 84 beautiful degrees here in Milwaukee. It's just good to be home.
The Brewers have enjoyed a lot of home games here lately. Finished 6-3 on the last homestand. They went 2-2 on the road trip to St. Louis. There you see the four-man umpiring crew. The crew chief among these four is Jerry Davis over at third base. 2 balls and a strike on Torres. Fouls one back our way. Look out. On our toes early here, partner.
Yeah, I was ready. Yeah, you were ready too. You jumped out of your seat. Good to see you feeling so good today.
So spry. Not sure I was jumping at the ball or jumping away from it, but either way, we were jumping somewhere. The Kung Fu Panda is ready as well. Pablo Sandoval. A bouncer, fielder with a nice grab, and he'll take it himself. And that's how the afternoon starts for Dave Bush. Let's check the Brewers defensively here today. Brought to you by Blaine's. It's Braun, Gomez, and Hart in the outfield. McGee, Escobar, Weeks, and Fielder around the horn in a battery of Jonathan Lucroy and Dave Bush. There's Gomez. The Brewers are very fast in their outfield today. This is their fastest outfield configuration with Braun, Gomez, and Hart. And the 2 corner outfielders are headed to the All-Star game, and Braun and Hart. First ball swinging is Sanchez, and he pops it up into shallow left. Braun's got it. 2 outs.
Yeah, that's something the Brewer pitching staff in this 4-game series is going to have to be very careful with. First pitch fastballs. This Giants club, they don't mess around too much. They don't walk much. They don't strike out a lot. They attack early and put the ball in play.
Well, Bruce Bochy's club comes in 1 game over 500. They had a 15-inning loss yesterday to the Colorado Rockies. Todd Helton with a sacrifice fly that won that game that lasted nearly 5.5 hours. It's a pretty beleaguered ball club, and their bullpen was used quite often in last night's game. No rest for the weary, however. 2 outs for Aubrey Huff. Well, last night, Rock, it started as an afternoon game. It ended in the evening in Denver. And that was the winner, Todd Helton, driving in Dexter Fowler in 15 innings as Colorado defeated the San Francisco Giants. San Diego had a walk-off win yesterday, and that meant the Giants dropped back to 7.5 games in the National League Western Division standings.
Yeah, the Giants have lost 10 of 12 and 12 of the last 16 games.
Huff pops it foul. That's going to be in the seats.
Yeah, both the Giants and the Brewers are in the middle of stretches where they're playing 20 days in a row. Neither one of these teams have had an off day in a while. Not until the All-Star break, and his bullpen for the Giants has been worked quite a bit. You know, everybody talks about how good the starting pitching has been for the Giants. Lincecum and Kane and Zito, Jonathan Sanchez, and these guys haven't been able to eat up many innings.
Not lately. It's been a struggle for San Francisco. And when they don't pitch, they don't win, because that is their strength. There's so much talk around baseball about the Giants and the Brewers possibly as trade partners. With the Brewers, this great offensive club, some parts that the Giants could use, and vice versa. We'll have to see how all that plays out. Oh, look at this play by Weeks. The throw, he finishes it off. A good start, an outstanding play by Ricky Weeks, covering some ground at second base. 3 up, 3 down for Bush. A Monday afternoon, a holiday weekend here in Milwaukee. Brewers batting order brought to you by Subway. You've got Weeks, Hart, and Fielder at the top of the order. Then Braun, McGee, and Lucroy, followed by Gomez, Escobar, and Dave Bush. Look at the numbers combined for Hart, Fielder, and Braun against today's pitcher, Jonathan Sanchez. They've had a lot of success. Sanchez on the mound for his 17th start of the year.
No, and almost a yo to the day. Jonathan Sanchez threw a no-hitter. Got great stuff. But as we talked about, starters not being able to eat up many innings. Sanchez only 13 innings in his last 3 starts combined. Hasn't been out there very long.
Sanchez with back-to-back starts of just 5 innings and then had a 2 2/3 mixed in there as well. As Ricky Weeks takes a strike. Weeks was ejected from yesterday's game. Back in the starting lineup here today. Ricky comes in with a .271 batting average. His on-base percentage is 100 points higher. But some frustration yesterday, and Ricky Weeks was tossed out in a pretty liberal strike zone at home plate.
Man, it looked like it might have been a bit low, but a little bit too close to take. And Ricky said the magic word to John Hirschbeck, and he took a seat.
His first ever ejection. Weeks a strikeout victim here in the first inning. Sanchez will rack up some strikeouts when he's right. This guy has electric stuff. And when you hear the talk about Jonathan Sanchez, it is very similar to what you hear from a guy like Manny Parra. Similar stuff. Sanchez is a little further along in his career and certainly has more credentials at this point, especially with the no-hitter. But he is a bit of an enigma at times.
And they say he is effectively wild with that strikeout to Ricky Weeks, the 93rd strikeout of the year, to go along with 45 walks.
Well, a good matchup here between Hart and Jonathan Sanchez. Hart with 19 home runs. Had to be so satisfying yesterday to hear that he was headed to the All-Star team. Not even on the All-Star ballot this year. Wasn't real sure about playing time this season. McCory banging out home run number 19 yesterday. And that was pretty much all of the offense for the Brew Crew against Adam Wainwright yesterday.
Yeah, Wainwright exceptional. Worked the outside part of the play with that cutter to the right-handed hitters. But Corey Hart able to get one up in his zone and able to get a run on the board.
Now Hart with a .286 average and primarily hitting in front of Prince Fielder these days, batting in the 2-hole. 19 home runs, 61 driven in for Corey Hart. There's a called strike 3. Hart is rung up, and Jonathan Sanchez with back-to-back Ks. How about a scouting report today on Sanchez? It comes from Brewers hitting coach Dale Swain.
Throws a hard, slurvy type breaking ball with a hard changeup. Not a lot of movement. He kind of can be what we call effectively wild sometimes in the strike zone. Can be a benefit to him unless we're taking the walks that he'll give you sometimes. If he's got command, then he can be really tough. But like I said, he can get behind hitters and get real wild sometimes, and is effectively wild.
He can get his fastball up to about 95 miles an hour. He's got a 2-seamer, 4-seamer. Saw that curveball to Corey Hart and a changeup. He's thrown all 3 of his pitches already here in the first inning.
2-0 to Fielder. 3 balls, no strikes on the big slugger. Fielder with 18 home runs this season, 36 driven in. Seems to always swing the bat well against the Giants. And as a matter of fact, it was right here at Miller Park. Fielder kind of moved into the crosshairs of San Francisco fans when the famous exploding bomb celebration after a home run. That was against the Giants. And it left a lot of Giants folks upset with Prince Fielder, so much so that Barry Zito drilled him in spring training this year.
Boy, that's going to hurt. Barry Zito at about 86 miles an hour. There's retribution for you.
Well, Fielder walks, just as Dale Swain was saying. The Brewers certainly need a patient approach at the plate today. with Jonathan Sanchez.
And that's going to be the case throughout this series. You know, the Giants pitching staff, although they have been very good, third in the National League in earned run average, they've walked the most batters of any pitching staff in the National League. So you have to be patient. It's kind of one of those fine lines. They've struck out a lot of batters too.
Braun on the first pitch bounces out, and the inning is over. To the second we go, scoreless at Miller Park. Manager Ken Maka and his comments on Yovani Gallardo, the Brewers ace, who left yesterday's game with an oblique strain. And Dr. Rosh arrived to the ballpark about 2 o'clock today to take a look at Yovani, and he did confirm the strain in the side, but also the Brewers decided not to put him on the disabled list at this point. So when Ken Maka says no baseball activities for about 10 days, the risk you run putting him on the disabled list, you lose him obviously for 2 weeks. You lose him for 15 days. And I'm not sure the Brewers are ready to go there just yet. So we'll see what happens with Yovani Gallardo. It still leaves some questions for the return of Doug Davis in that starting rotation.
Well, something must have happened, or a conversation must have taken place between that soundbite and the start of today's game, because it sounded as though, you know, Ken Maka had ruled out completely him pitching in the All-Star game. But I got to believe that there is still a chance that that may happen. If there wasn't, then he would have been on the disabled list. Why not just put him on for 10 days? It's an extra 4 days, no big deal. You're talking about your franchise pitcher.
Yep, it'll be interesting to see how they play it the rest of the way. And they might want to give Gallardo a couple of days just to see how this injury responds. Now, this is a similar injury. We don't know the severity of it just yet, but it's a similar injury to what had Trevor Hoffman on the disabled list to start 09. Had him on the DL for 3 weeks. And it is a tough injury for a pitcher to come back from. So you'll have to wait with us as we get more information and as Gallardo shows up to the ballpark the next couple of days.
No, they could actually wait until Friday when Doug Davis comes off the disabled list, because only then are they going to have to make a move, probably a pitcher. And if they wait till Friday, they can always retroactive the disabled list back to yesterday.
So why not wait?
So there's no real risk in waiting.
The one option they had, Doug Melvin told us before the game that he had a thought that Lorenzo Cain, a position player, might be able to take the roster spot. As Burrell lines one left field line, that is a foul ball. But there was some talk earlier today, and Rock and I both had a chance to visit with Doug before the game, that the Brewers would drop that 13th pitcher, put Gallardo on the disabled list, and go to a minor league outfielder, and that outfielder would be Lorenzo Cain. So there were plans in place, but obviously now that Gallardo is not going on the DL, there is no roster move.
No sense of urgency yet. The Brewers are, though, going to be facing 3 left-handers on this homestand, including today Jonathan Sanchez. We have Barry Zito and Paul Mahalem when the Pirates come in. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. It'll be worth checking in tomorrow, right?
You know the good news about the whole thing? It's not bad enough to say, oh yeah, he's going on a disabled list. It's going to be a while. That's good news that they're not sure.
Right. That's a good point. Because the way he walked off the mound yesterday, it looked like something more serious than what it appears to be at this point. And you have to trust your athletic trainers, and the Brewers have the best in the business down there. So they'll get him back where he needs to be.
They have been a busy group this year. Roger Kaplinger and Dan Wright. Chris Joyner, the strength and conditioning coach.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Burrell. There's Chris Joyner talking with Brad Fisher.
Back in the fold after the big wedding over the weekend.
Yeah, Fisher's daughter Kelly was married over the weekend, and he's back in his familiar spot as the third base coach. Congratulations to the Fisher family. Pat the Bat. He was released by the Tampa Bay Rays. Giants were happy to pick him up. He's actually swung the bat pretty well, not only against Dave Bush, but as a Giant. He's hitting .315 as a San Francisco Giant. And there's a base hit to center field. So Burrell in his 27th game as a Giant. A leadoff single here in the second.
Hey, follow the Brewers on your iPhone, iPod Touch, BlackBerry, and Android phone with MLB.com at Bat 2010. You get play-by-play, video highlights, and live audio broadcasts. Go to Brewers.com today for more details.
A leadoff base runner for the Giants. Here's Pablo Sandoval. Switch hitting third baseman. Sandoval, as a left-handed batter, a .288 hitter. He's much better from this side of the plate. But his numbers are down. You know, when he came to the big leagues, had that breakout season in his rookie year, many felt he would contend for a batting title each and every year. Certainly burst onto the scene last season. The Kung Fu Panda, they call him.
Best nickname in baseball.
That one just missed. Now the Giants just 2-10 in their last 12 games. At one point had lost 7 straight.
Look at the earned run average, over 5, and this is a pretty good pitching staff, third best in the National League when you look at ERA. But they have been scuffling and not scoring many runs. Not many guys in this lineup today for Bruce Bochy have been, on a hot streak. Pat Burrell's been swinging the bat. Aubrey Huff has been pretty good, but Pablo Sandoval and the rest of them in long slumps right now.
Sandoval finished second in the batting race last year. Henley Ramirez won the batting title. He hit .342. Sandoval hit .330 as a 22-year-old rookie a season ago. Giants feel good about their minor league system and the kind of talent they've been able to produce to the big leagues. Sandoval, a part of that group. They got a little time in 08, and then last year's first full season. They have a young catcher that's in the lineup today. They actually traded Benji Molina to the Texas Rangers to make room for Buster Posey. He's swinging a miss. Dave Bush strikes him out. Well, Sandoval is gone, and it's the first strikeout for Dave Bush.
Yep, out of the strike zone, and Sandoval's been always known as a guy that will swing at anything. You flip the rosin back up there, he'll swing at it. Doesn't strike out a whole lot. The Giants, as we talked about, They put the ball in play. They don't walk. They don't strike out much. But Dave Bush able to throw that fastball by him.
Well, a key out as Sandoval is retired, and here is Uribe. Giants shortstop. Boy, he has had a dismal stretch here. Juan Uribe hitting just .255. He does have 12 home runs, big power numbers from an infielder. 46 runs batted in. Well, you go back 15 games for Uribe. That covers 61 plate appearances. In his last 15 games, he's hitting .113.
Yeah. Well, he's in an 0 for 17 stretch. You know that's going to come to an end at some point. Hopefully not today.
0-2 the count on Uribe. And he chases one. So Dave Bush, according to game plan, to see if these guys will chase out of the strike zone, and they certainly have here.
That cutter that's well off the outside corner and down. A good pitch by Bush on a 0-2 pitch, and Uribe, just like Sandoval, spanning the strike zone.
So, Bill, what do you make of the travel for the Giants? They played a 15-inning game yesterday. They got in late. They used a bunch of pitchers, bunch of position players. How will it affect them for this game, the first game of this series, do you think?
I don't see it's going to be that big of a deal because, you know, it's a 3 o'clock start. It's not like it's a 1 o'clock start. But the interesting thing is, in reading the notes today for the Giants, Sanchez, today's starting pitcher, actually started to get loose yesterday in Colorado just in case they needed him. That very well may affect him.
Yeah, we'll see how sharp he will be and how long he can last in this game.
But it's always the second day in when you have bad travel. It's a long flight and you get in late. That's been my experience anyway.
So we'll see if they have the ankle weights on tomorrow.
Yeah,
that'll be the gauge. It's always something nice about a new city, a new clubhouse. Gives you a little spark. We'll see. 1 ball, 1 strike on the young catcher, Buster Posey, and he slices one down the right field line. And that ball is slicing foul and out of play. Posey has big power to all fields. And they love this kid. Boy, Buster Posey. Now, while he's not in Steven Strasburg territory as far as promise, he is in San Francisco right up there. They've been waiting for him to surface in the major league level for the last couple of years. He's only 23 years of age. But he was just drafted in 08. He was the 5th pick overall by the Giants just 2 seasons ago, and here he is already in the big leagues.
Yeah, they like his bat so much that he was playing a lot of first base when Benji Molina was here. This is only his 6th start at behind home plate. Had 24 starts at first base. Nobody can be in that Steven Strasburg category. Of course, Posey's been in more games than Strasburg, so he's probably more qualified for the All-Star game.
With no offense to Steven, you mean?
Right.
No offense to the player.
Absolutely not.
Just the swarm of media and fanfare around him.
I'm looking forward to seeing Strasburg come into Miller Park.
Yeah, they'll be here at the end of July, at the end of this month. Posey into right field. Hart closing in. He's got it. And the inning is over. So Dave Bush with a couple of strikeouts. Gives up a leadoff single, but gets right through the second.
Retire as a Brewer. A press conference will be held this Friday at Miller Park. Jeff will throw out the first ball Friday night against the Pirates. Jeff played 10 seasons here, second in the all-time home run list, second in slugging percentage for the Brewers. A 2003 All-Star guy, is one of the most popular Brewers ever to play here.
That is not Jeff Jenkins, but that's a Jeff Jenkins type goatee going on right there. Unless Jeff has changed his look here the last couple of years.
He could.
That's a good note. Looking forward to seeing Jeff Jenkins once again. 10-year playing career in Milwaukee, and we see him every year in Arizona. He lives in the Phoenix area, and when the Brewers go play the Diamondbacks, I'm sure he's excited about coming back to Milwaukee. So, Rock, you could put Jeff Jenkins among your group of former players eligible to be fantasy camp coaches now.
He actually showed up a day when in fantasy camp last year. Jenks would like to get involved in baseball in some capacity. Whether it be the front office or something along those lines. Once the game's in your blood, tough to get it out. As long as he doesn't want to be a broadcaster.
Casey McGee draws a walk here. And a base runner. The second walk issued by Jonathan Sanchez. Well, Jeff Jenkins has a World Series ring from the Philadelphia Phillies, 2008. Matter of fact, he had the big hit that put the Phillies on top in that final game. Remember all the rain? And
yeah.
Actually, he got that hit off Grant Balfour. Two former Brewers matching up in that World Series of 08.
I'd be surprised if Jeff Jenkins retired in a uniform other than the Brewers. In all honesty, he was a Brewer for a long, long time and had some very good years here.
Jonathan Lucroy just getting his Brewers career started. Lucroy hitting .278 with a couple of home runs. He's driven in 5 runs. Lucroy today playing in his 22nd big league game.
Yep, 2 hits yesterday against Adam Wainwright. A couple of singles to left. Not too many hitters for the Brewers had much success, but Lucroy did.
And that one's going to sneak by. And a base hit. So Sandoval laid out, unable to come up with it. Unlikely he's able to throw out Lucroy anyway. And the Brewers have something going here in the second inning with a walk and a single and 2 men aboard.
It's been interesting watching Jonathan Lucroy at the plate and the way he has developed. I mean, when he first came up, first 2 weeks, everything was trying to serve into right field. All of a sudden now he's thinking about pulling the baseball a little bit more. He's got a couple of home runs, and his last 3 hits have come to left field. You pitch him in, hit at the left. Pitch him away, go to the opposite field. You like to see that approach.
Here is Gomez now. Gomez is a terrific bunter. But typically when he bunts for hits. The Brewers as a club don't normally use the sacrifice bunt with their position players. But this might be the part of the order to do it.
Well, you drop down the sacrifice bunt here. Best case scenario, you get second and third with your number 8 hitter coming up, and then the pitcher. You have to decide if you can mock, if that's what you want to do. Chances of doubling up Escobar, I should say, Gomez, very limited. So you might let him swing away.
So you weigh the double play option and percentage against the base hit percentage. And Jonathan Sanchez has command issues. And he's fallen behind 3-0. That might have had something to do with Maka's decision as well. He's already walked 2. He's given up a hit. 2 on, nobody out. And Gomez takes a strike. Now Gomez went on the disabled list with an injured shoulder. Was his left shoulder, his non-throwing shoulder. That was back on the 11th of May. He returned on the 20th of May, and since he's come back, he's hit just .206 at the plate. Does have 3 home runs in that stretch. 3 of his 5 home runs have been since his return in mid-May. But just a .206 batting average since then. He lays off. They'll ask if he went. He did not. And the bases are loaded with nobody out. Baseball's biggest stars go head-to-head for one spectacular night in the summer's biggest event, as Fox brings you every thrilling moment of the 2010 MLB All-Star Game. Coverage begins Tuesday, July 13th, live from Anaheim at 7 p.m. Central, only on Fox.
Home run hitting contest, too, is going to be interesting.
I hope we see Corey Hart in the home run derby.
Yeah, should be.
Among league leaders in homers. Brewers trying to make it back-to-back years with home run derby champs. So here's Escobar, a big shot here for the Brewers in the second inning.
And Sanchez looking into home plate umpire Sam Holbrook, and I think home plate umpire is getting the business from that Giants dugout. That looked like a decent pitch. Got that changeup working. He threw a 3-ball, 1-strike changeup to Gomez when he was at the plate. That last pitch right there at 81 miles an hour changeup.
Well, he has the strikeout potential. Escobar, while batting just .244 for the year, he's hit .308 in his career with the bases loaded. Had a month in the big leagues last year and all of this season. Missed badly. 2 balls and a strike. A little frustration building here for Sanchez. Dave Righetti, the Giants pitching coach. A hitter's count for the young shortstop. And he pops it up in the infield. Worst case scenario here, infield fly rule is called and Escobar is out and none of the runners will advance.
Yep, had to count in his favor, and Sanchez just let it fly and hoping for the best, and Escobar popped it straight up. A 2-1 fastball, not able to get the barrel on it.
Now it's Dave Bush. The Brewer pitcher will hit. He's driven in just 1 run this year, has 3 hits and 19 at-bats. Overall, the Brewer starting pitching has swung the bat well. A batting average over 200 as a team. Now this is a spot where you'd almost prefer a strikeout as opposed to a batted ball on the ground somewhere. Sanchez and the Giants are looking to get out of this inning with a ground ball out and a double play.
Man, unless it's hit so weakly that not able to turn a double play. Bushy runs pretty well for a pitcher.
A little bit late, and he slices one foul in the seats. 0-2 the count.
Outfield for the Giants, very shallow, swung around toward right. Aubrey Huff about as shallow as you can get in the outfield. Torres very shallow.
Casey McGee does not have good speed over at third base, so it's going to take a little more to get him in. Bush is down on strikes. 2 outs in the inning. Still bases loaded. Back to the top of the order. Well, Ricky Weeks comes in here with 14 home runs for the season, and on 4 occasions leadoff home runs. Then he went bang against Chris Carpenter on Saturday, a leadoff home run.
Yeah, it's a rough day for Carpenter, but a very good day for the Brewer offense. And Ricky Weeks got it going.
Now with 5 leadoff home runs this year, has 18 leadoff home runs in his career. Paul Molitor is the franchise leader in that category with 33. Two outs, bases loaded, and Weeks fouls it away. Ricky Weeks leads the major leagues with 14 home runs and 49 RBIs from the leadoff spot. And he is third in the majors in runs scored from the leadoff spot. Ricky has scored 52 runs as a leadoff hitter. 0-2 the count.
And that's a nasty pitch right there. Had a little bit of a cut on it, took something off, and Ricky not only out in front, but way over the top.
Now the Brewers load him up with nobody out. Escobar popped up. Bush struck out, and it's up to Weeks here with 2 outs and 2 strikes. Could be a swing inning as Weeks takes a ball just inside. Sanchez was headed to the dugout. He thought he'd rung him up.
I think Sam Holbrook getting a little bit irritated with Sanchez and the way he's been, looking in to home plate. That ball, not sure where it missed. Pretty close. Home plate umpire getting a little bit irritated with the Giants starter.
Two and two to Weeks. Now McGee will be on his toes over at third base. Posey is an excellent defensive catcher. But in case of a wild pitch, the Brewers could score a run here without the benefit of a hit. And Sanchez wants to rethink the signs. There's that breaking ball, the same one that Weeks swung and missed at. Made the adjustment. Now the bases are loaded, and now this big crowd here at Miller Park trying to help out their leadoff hitter. Full count, 2 outs. All 3 runners will start with the pitch. And he takes ball 4. A bases loaded walk. What an at bat by Weeks.
Well done by Ricky. Good patience, and on 2 pitches that are very tough to lay off of. That slider down and in. Sanchez threw him one early in that at bat. Ricky way out in front. Looks like a fastball until the last minute. It goes down and in, and a great at bat for Ricky Weeks, and the Brewers on the board.
And a quick trip to the mound by Dave Righetti, the Giants pitching coach.
Can't tell you how difficult it is to be up there in that situation. Bases loaded, 3-2, 2 outs, and to lay off a very close pitch like that. Good discipline by Weeks.
A pitch that he had swung and missed at earlier in the count. So the Brewers lead 1-0, and here is Corey Hart, now on a 19-game hitting streak after his home run yesterday. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Now Corey Hart has been something else this year. He's at .358 during the streak. Has 19 runs batted in as many games. And has scored 14 runs.
And extended the streak yesterday with a solo home run.
The 1-0 pitch, and Hart takes a strike. Fastball from Sanchez. Popped him up. Ishikawa and Sanchez converge. Ishikawa's got it. Well, after all of that, the inning ends. The Brewers get just 1. Old Glory flying high today. An extended 4th of July holiday as we carry it into Monday. A paid holiday today. Hope you get paid today, Rob, for working.
I think I did. I haven't checked.
Great crowd here at Miller Park. So far, so good. The cloud cover has not turned into a thunder shower at this point, and the roof is open, and it is very pleasant. A little bit on the humid side, but great baseball weather here in July in Milwaukee. Well, the Brewers load the bases with nobody out in the second inning. They get just one. And it's 1-0 as we head to the third now. And Ishikawa leads off against Dave Bush. 8-9-1 due up for the Giants against Bush. He's given up just one hit. The slick fielding first baseman Travis Ishikawa. You don't see many first basemen hitting 8th in a National League lineup, but that's kind of where the Giants are offensively at this point. Fielder's got it. One gone for Bush here in the third. All right, Rock, our carsoup.com email the booth question. Who in your mind was the biggest snub from the National League All-Star roster? That's from Kurt in Green Bay.
Joey Votto, can I say it quick enough? Top 10 in batting average, home runs, and RBIs. Did not make the All-Star team.
Okay. That was fast. That was
Matt Latos is another guy.
Yep.
I mean, how can it be that the San Diego Padres lead the National League in earned run average and have no pitchers on the All-Star team?
Now Heath Bell is in the 5, the vote in. He's in the final 5, so he could be voted in, and so is Joey Votto.
Did I mention Joey Votto?
How about Jaime Garcia? Can I throw that one out there on you?
Sure.
Jaime Garcia, the 3rd best ERA in the National League, the rookie pitcher from the Cardinals who beat the Brewers on Friday. I think Garcia, as much as anything else, a victim of the pitching success of his teammates, Carpenter and Wainwright.
Yeah. You got Pujols on the team. You've got
Matt
Holliday. You've got Yadier Molina.
All kinds of Cardinals on that ball club. Well, these are the numbers. I mean, how much better do you have to be than a 2.10 earned run average?
See, now, how does your guy get a full page?
You got to make a trip to the truck every now and then, partner. Sanchez flies out to Ryan Braun.
He wasn't even on the graphic, was he?
No, it was. Talk about an omission. It's an omission from the omission graphic.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's a double omission
wow.
right there.
Well, you got no friends in high places.
Well,
I'm telling you.
It's Rock. You know what? Let that be a lesson for you.
Yeah, you're speechless. Wow.
Let that be a lesson, pal. Jaime Garcia opens the day today, by the way. 2nd lowest ERA in the league.
Joey Votto.
As Torres flies out.
Joey Votto.
Into the inning. Who's your all-star snub? have a feeling, I'm just going to say that I think he's going to be there.
Look at the size of that graphic. That's beautiful.
Rocks guy.
Yep, 412 on base percentage. Cincinnati Reds in first place.
Squeaky wheel gets the grease. That's what I always say.
Squeaky wheel.
Fielder leads off. Prince walked his last time up and was hoping for a chance with some men on base. But Jonathan Sanchez gets Corey Hart to pop up to end the inning. Brewers leave the bases loaded. They've left 4 on in the first 2 innings. But a 1-0 lead. Check the Powerball home run leaderboard for Milwaukee. It's Hart with 19, then Fielder with 18. Ricky Weeks, after his home run Saturday, has 14 for the year. And those are the top 5 hitters in the Brewers batting order. It's amazing the contrast in the Brewers lineup today, and pretty much every day at this point now that Hart is solidified in the 2-hole. You've got a lot of power bats at the top, and then not so much power at the bottom of the order with the last 4 hitters.
Well, we've been talking now for a couple of weeks about, Ricky Weeks and his RBIs and Corey Hart and his RBIs. And although, you don't have a lot of household names at the bottom of that Brewer batting order, but they're getting on base. That's why Ricky and Corey have so many RBIs.
And the pitchers as well.
Pitchers, pinch hitters have been able to get on base.
2-2 to Fielder. Almost hit him. Now Prince is just 2 homers away from the league lead. Albert Pujols has 20. Mark Reynolds, Corey Hart, and some guy named Votto with 19. All tied for second. Votto plays for the Cincinnati Reds.
Right, who incidentally tied for the Brewers in home runs as a team, 102 homers.
3-2 to Fielder. And he bangs one through the shift. A backhanded play by Sanchez, but no chance to pick it up and make a throw. He knocked it down, but Fielder is safe on an infield hit.
Well, the only left-hander in the Brewer lineup today, Prince Fielder, has to deal with Sanchez, who's pretty good against lefties. An opponent batting average coming in 5th best in the National League at 209. You can see Sanchez playing in short right field. And Prince up the middle. It would have been interesting had Sanchez kept that ball in his glove.
And you wonder if he is in a normal second base position. And most teams apply the shift on Prince Fielder. He might have had a good chance to make that play and make it out. So Fielder always enjoys beating the shift. Now Braun swung at the first pitch his last time up and rolled out. That ended the first inning. Ryan with 51 RBIs this year on 11 homers. Those are good numbers, but they are not Ryan Braun type numbers at this point. He's on pace to hit 20 homers and drive in 100 runs, but you kind of put Braun in the category of a 30-plus home run hitter and a 110, 120 RBI man.
The victim of his own success. Tough to ask that of a guy year after year after year.
Now Ryan Braun, the first in franchise history to go to the All-Star game in 3 consecutive years as a starter. And he's going back home to Anaheim, and I know he's thrilled to have the chance to do that. Now you wonder where Braun's going to play in the outfield. He has started in right before in his All-Star starts. Guess it all depends on Jason Hayward and his health. In the air to right. This is playable for Huff. And a fly ball out for Ryan Braun. He is 0 for 2. Fielder still at first.
Hey, Brewer fans, you can enjoy great baseball at a tasty price when you purchase Terrace Reserve seats for only $6. That's courtesy of Miller High Life. To purchase tickets, call 414-902-4000 or go to Brewers.com.
Great crowd today. We're looking at a near sellout on a Monday afternoon. Unusual start time today with the extension of the holiday weekend. McGee beats one foul.
Yeah, 5 games for the Brewers and 5 different start times.
How about that?
A 7:15 start on Friday. Then you had what, 5:30, 1:15, 3:10, and tomorrow is 7:10.
The next 2 nights will be 7:10 first pitch on the air at 6:30 for Brewers Live. The final game of the series is Thursday, and it's an afternoon game.
I will say this: I know the hitter's very happy that it's cloudy today, because this would have been a nightmare. Twilight, particularly toward the end of the ball game, but no shadows. You don't have the sun to deal with.
No balls, 2 strikes on McGee. Just missed.
Both teams were commenting on the twilight situation, the shadows at Busch Stadium on Saturday at 5:30 start. Made it tough on the hitters.
Yeah, they did that in St. Louis so they could wrap up the game prior to the big downtown fireworks show. So they wanted to kind of get that crowd moving toward the arch for the fireworks show, and that's why the unusual start time last Saturday. Players are such creatures of habit, so these 3 o'clock games kind of throw them off a little bit. Not that anybody feels sorry for them, but it does affect the routine of the day.
Yeah, and you can't do that.
No, we wouldn't want to do that. 2-2. Count stays at 2 balls and 2 strikes on McGee. It basically boils down, if you have a good day, if you get a couple of hits, maybe a couple of RBIs, then the routine affected is really not a big deal. Now, if you go over and you strike out a few times, well, then you're thrown off with your routine.
It's a good excuse.
Yeah. You got to find something to blame. Little broken bat. That's going to fall. A base hit. So Casey McGee battles at the plate, and with 2 strikes comes up with a broken bat single to center field.
Yeah, it was one of those cut fastballs or something that was breaking in on Casey McGee right here. That slider that stayed a little bit out over the plate, and Casey able to fight it off. Didn't hit it hard, but able to keep the bat in the hitting zone long enough to dump it into center field.
So 2 men aboard for the Brew Crew here in the 3rd inning, and it's Jonathan Lucroy. Fielder and McGee. And Lucroy a chance to drive in some runs. Has 5 RBIs in 22 games. Into center field. Playable for Torres. Fielder will not tag. So out number 2 and the runners stay put.
Yeah, Jonathan kind of shaking his head. He had a pretty good pitch to hit. He hung one of those breaking pitches to Jonathan. And popped it up, got under it a little bit. Got on the sweet spot, but just wasn't able to center on it. Stayed back nicely on it. There's a changeup, actually, and Jonathan a little bit underneath. You can see the point of contact a little bit down on the trademark and on the bottom of that baseball.
2 gone. Here's Gomez. Carlos drew a walk his last time up in the 2nd. So far today, Sanchez has walked 3, make it 4. 3 of those came in the 2nd inning. And he's given up 3 hits to the Brewers. A lot of base runners, but so far just 1 run. Well, for so many years, wherever Gomez was, whether he was in New York with the Mets, with the Twins in Minnesota, he was always told to shorten up his swing, hit the ball on the ground, utilize his speed. Dale Swaim, when Carlos arrived in Milwaukee, said, I want you to take a hack. And I think a lot of it has to do with Gomez maybe just finding out for himself, you know, maybe a maturation process. He's hitting just .235. He does have 5 home runs, but there is some power in there. And I think Dale Swaim's trying to find that balance between the power and the speed.
Well, the other message wasn't working all that well, so why not try something else, right?
Change it up.
Change it up. I mean, he can hit a fastball that's in on him. I mean, as good as anybody. He's got quick hands in there.
Slaps one out to second. Sanchez to the bag, and the inning is over. The Brewers strand 2. They have now left 6 through the first 3 innings. Third consecutive All-Star start. One to nothing Crew as we head to the 4th Brewers Giants game 1 of a 4-game series. It's a 7-game homestand in all. The Giants and the Pirates are in town this week. Then the All-Star break, and then the Brewers are back on the road to start the second half. They'll go to Atlanta, then Pittsburgh. Freddie Sanchez, speaking of Pittsburgh, the former Pirate and a former batting champion in the National League as a Pirate. Sanchez traded to the Giants last year, hitting .285 with 1 home run, 20 ribbies. And Bush gets him to wave and miss. 1-2 the count. Always in motion. Freddie Sanchez.
He's always had very good success against Milwaukee. He and Jack Wilson, I mean, terrorized Brewer pitching for many years as a member of the Pirates.
Now, 344 in 06 was the year he won the batting title. Dave Bush with 3 scoreless. He's given up just 1 hit. That was a single by Burrell in the 2nd inning. That's it. The fielder will give it a look here. That one ends up in the seats. Two balls, two strikes on Freddie Sanchez. When he came to the big leagues, he was a member of the Boston Red Sox. Had a couple of years with Boston before being sent to the Pirates. He was actually involved in that deal with Jeff Suppan. Freddie Sanchez and Mike Gonzalez to the Pirates for Jeff Suppan and Brandon Lyon among the notables in that trade.
And Freddie Sanchez spent some time on the disabled list this year. Got off to a slow start in spring training. He's always been one of those guys, at least until, he did win that batting title, that every organization felt as though they had somebody better, more suited to be an everyday player. But Sanchez, a battler.
And a strike called on the outside corner, and Sanchez is barking at Sam Holbrook on his way out.
Yeah, right at the bottom of the strike zone. It had plenty of the plate, but maybe a bit low. Jonathan Lucroy holds it nicely for Holbrook and rings him up too close to take with two strikes.
Fox Tracks had it on the corner. One gone, and here is Huff. He's had a great year for the Giants. He's been one of the few offensive bright spots for San Francisco. Huff with 15 home runs. He's driven in 47.
And one of the few hitters in his lineup that's been swinging the bat pretty well. Huff and Pat Burrell.
Another guy who's bounced around in his career, Aubrey Huff. Two former Tampa Bay Rays. Taking a shot at the manager over there. Ken Maka almost or did get drilled. I don't know if the net caught it or not. That way.
Hit it the other way. What's Maka doing down there? He's always down there by the tunnel. That'll teach him.
Might have got a piece of it. He's headed into safer territory. Into right center, long run for Corey Hart. That one is going to go to the wall. And Huff is on his way to second base with a double.
That's a nice quick bat by Aubrey Huff. That curveball stayed up in his zone just a bit, but he waited back. And that bat like a lightning bolt through the strike zone. That's a nice swing. How level that is through the hitting zone and able to stay back. Although that back foot bounced a little bit because he was out in his front foot, still able to get enough of it because he kept his hands back. Knocked it off the base of the wall.
Good recognition by Aubrey Huff. He saw the pitch. Hit it on the barrel. So here's Pat Burrell now with a runner at second. 1-0. The Brewers lead this game. Giants have the tying run in scoring position. Burrell takes a strike. Well, last time up, Burrell singled to center. One of two Giants hits. He's hit for a high average with the Giants since the trade or since the acquisition.
24 for 74. 324 batting average and a on base percentage at almost 400. It's a way to establish a first impression.
Now, Pearl had a rough go in Tampa Bay. Signed a 2-year contract with him. This year in 24 games with the Rays, he hit just .202. In 26 games with San Francisco, a .315 batting average to begin the day. Sandoval due to hit next. 3 balls and a strike. In there. Full count. Good pitch.
And a little backup cutter that time. And Burrell saw the spin on it, expected to go away. Stayed on the inner half, but caught the strike zone.
So bad it was good.
Yeah.
Now with a runner at second, Lucroy and Bush want to map it out. Might have changed signs there.
And a couple of veterans out there. Burrell at the plate. Huck at second. Might be relaying the sign, telling him what's coming.
3-2 pitch. Fouled away. I saw that in a game yesterday. I've never actually caught a base runner giving signs, but Robinson Cano was giving signals. I don't think he was giving pitches, but location.
That's even better
for a hitter.
A hitter would much rather know location than what the pitch is.
3-2 is inside. Burrell draws the walk, and the Giants have 2 on now with just 1 out. Well, kids, Avery Deuce Barnes is a Little League player who has been around Major League Baseball since he attended his first spring training game when he was 2 weeks old. That's young. Now at age 11, he's answering your questions about the Brewers. Just head to the Kids Corner on FoxSportsWisconsin.com and ask Deuce what you want to know about the Brewers. He might even answer your question on the Brewer pregame show. Log on now, FoxSportsWisconsin.com. He had a chat with Corey Hart today on the pregame show. It's kind of a neat setting there. You've got Avery Barnes, nice and proper, got his jersey tucked in, got his hat on. And then you've got Corey Hart in full beard and tattoos and a sleeveless t-shirt. See, now most kids would be intimidated by that.
No, not Deuce.
No. He asked the tough questions. Corey only looks mean. He's actually a very pleasant man. Ball and a strike on Sandoval. See, here, this is what I'm talking about. I mean, that's got to be a little intimidating for an 11-year-old.
Yeah.
Flashing the guns and the tats. Got the hat on backward.
I would imagine it was a pretty good discussion between the two of them. Maybe some all-star content. Saying, how do I get a tattoo like that?
He said, man, where do you go about to get that ink? Those arms will be full of tattoos in just a few years. There's a master plan for Corey Hart. Sandoval in the air. Ricky Weeks will make the call. Infield fly rule was called. Weeks catches it anyway. And it's out number 2.
So you're saying he's not done with tattoos?
I don't think so. He's got a big picture. Got a lot in mind.
Big blueprint laid out.
And a lot of canvas there to work with.
Right.
I'm thinking about getting one myself. Maybe like an FSN logo.
Yeah. Butterfly, maybe. skull and crossbones.
Yeah.
How about a hook 'em horns? That'll look good on him.
Good call. That is a good call. Juan Uribe with 2 outs and 2 on. In the air, Gomez racing toward the gap. He's got it. Bush gets out of it. He strands a pair. 4 shutout for Dave Bush. Ricky Weeks will hit when we come back. The Brewers have a 1-0 lead on San Francisco. Giants game 1 of 4 in this series. Ricky Weeks, a bases loaded walk. It was a real grinder of an at-bat. McGee scored the lone run. The Brewers have stranded 6 runners on base, but Dave Bush has been able to put 4 shutout on the board. He just strands a pair of Giants, going through Sandoval and Uribe to end the inning. So 8, 9, and 1 due up for Milwaukee. It is Escobar, Bush, and Weeks against Jonathan Sanchez.
Sanchez so far today really hasn't shown that big velocity that we've seen from him before. I mean, he used to get it up there at about 94. He's around, anywhere between 89 and 92 today. That's been about it. Well, last fastball at 88. I mentioned that in yesterday's ball game in Colorado, he actually got up and got loose.
And you wonder how much that took out of him. It's not just the fact that you throw a few pitches, but the fact that all of a sudden you spring into action. Here's a day
out of your routine.
You know you're not going to pitch as he walks Escobar, and that has been a story today for Jonathan Sanchez. He walked 3 in the 2nd inning and now has 5 walks issued in this game. AT&T Trivia. The first Brewers player to start in an all-star game. He's still in the Brewers organization, as a matter of fact. The AAA manager now, Don Money, 1973.
And his AAA team has been wearing it this year, losing a lot of his star players to the Brewers, particularly their pitchers.
Don Money, a 4-time all-star with the Brewers. He still has great skills with the glove around the infield. Speaking of fantasy camp coaches, had an excellent career with the Brewers. Spent a decade in Milwaukee, over 1,100 games, and look, a .270 batting average. He was an all-star in 74, 76, 77 and 78. He had 3 consecutive All-Star games in that run and 4 in 5 years as a Brewer.
We always marvel at how some hitters can take an inside fastball, get the barrel of the bat on it, keep it fair. Really not hooking it all down the line as it goes down the line. Don Money was as good at that as anybody. I mean, you talk to Don Money about hitting. He's one of 2 players that I ever played with. I did play, alongside Don Money in spring training with the Brewers, but looked slider every pitch. Reacted to the fastball. You don't see many guys do that. The other guy, Gorman Thomas.
Interesting. Now, Money's last year with the Brewers was your first season with Milwaukee, right? 83?
Yeah. Part of that season together.
Oh, they got Escobar picked off. Ishikawa will run him down, or will he? He slides in second. He's out. Ishikawa got him on the back.
There's no excuse to get picked off in that situation. Dave Bush going up there to bunt him over for the top of the order. A mistake by Escobar, and he's not going anywhere. Trying to get a big jump off of first base, and just barely out by a couple of feet. Ishikawa with the dive got him on the back of the leg, and a good call at second base.
And Alcides Escobar has had a rough couple of days. A couple of errors yesterday and a base running blunder. With the pitcher up there trying to bunt him over. Well, that's an ideal scenario for a manager, to get your 8th place hitter aboard to lead off an inning. That basically gives you a chance to clear the pitcher with a bunt. Put a runner in scoring position with the top of the order coming up. So a mistake by the young shortstop. And now Bush is rung up, and just like that, 2 men are out as we go back to the top of the order.
Enter Time Warner Cable's Diamond Life Sweepstakes, and you could spend a day in the big leagues. One winner will take batting practice at Miller Park, get a major leaguer's salary for the day, and watch the Brewers game from a suite. Visit Brewers.com for details.
So 2 gone here in the 4th, and here's Ricky Weeks. Weeks with the lone RBI, a bases loaded walk, and a hard-earned walk against Sanchez. Gives him 50 runs batted in from the leadoff spot this year. On the corner for a strike.
And it's not often you say that the best at bat of the day so far resulted in a walk, but that's certainly the case for Ricky today.
Bouncing ball to third. Sandoval has it. And a strong throw in time. So the inning is over. The Brewers get a leadoff walk, but cannot score. It's 1-0.
But how about Torrey Hunter? Some big game numbers Sunday night. 2 homers, 7 RBIs. And the Angels 11-0 win over the Royals. And Cincinnati's Drew Stubbs, 2 homers, 5 ribbies. The Reds pounding the Cubs. Guys, the Reds lead the league in runs scored. They're doing a lot of things right these days.
Now, one of the best games of his young career, Drew Stubbs. He is some kind of talent. I could see Torrey Hunter ending up in the home run derby. Right now, he's the lone angel on the All-Star team.
Yeah. It's one of those things you think about. What happened to Dontrell Willis?
Yeah, I know it.
You know, well, what a talent.
Speaking of Steven Strasburg and the All-Star argument, remember it was Dontrell Willis who was placed on the All-Star team when Kevin Brown was injured. And he was only in the big leagues for 2 months at that point, and yet he made the All-Star team. And what a splash he made with the Florida Marlins when he first entered the league. And it all went south. The Tigers gave him a huge contract.
Yeah. Tigers sent him all the way down to A-ball a couple of years ago.
Escobar makes a play, and Posey is retired. Brewers Live is going on the road to celebrate family fun at the Wisconsin Dells, July 16th to the 18th. Join Jerry Augustine and Craig Cashon for a first-hand experience at Dells. All starts Friday, July 16th at 6 p.m. only on Fox Sports Wisconsin. You can visit foxsportswisconsin.com and click on the station events page for more information.
See Tarzan there, Cashon?
I was actually reading the card.
Looking good.
Look at Davey. Davey looks a little tied up when he's running across that. He doesn't look quite as limber as he was when he scored the final run in Washington Senators history.
No. None of us do. Nobody looks the same as we used to. Of course, Cashon, a little different.
Now, Davey had ankle surgery this offseason. I think, oh boy, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
That is a golden brown, is it not?
That's a gutsy look. Not many of us would be able to pull off.
A couple of gold chains, and Craig Cashon is right there.
Where's Craig to defend himself?
Yeah. Ishikawa. I didn't notice that, but I did notice Davey Nelson kind of reminded me of that movie, you know, with all the kids and Davey's, you know, he's dropping them off the sides.
Right, right.
He's winning the race. In the air to left, Braun makes a catch. 2 outs for Dave Bush. There he is. Oh, Grandpa Davey, check him out. Oh, it looked like he just pulled a hammy right there. Couldn't let any of the kids win. We didn't get the end of that on video, but it ended badly for Davey.
Sniper.
Oh, man. Crash and burn. That was I'm sure it exists somewhere in a YouTube moment. Sanchez to left. That's going to fall for a base hit. So the Giants pitcher with a single to left. So 2 outs for Dave Bush, but now a runner at first as the Giants pitcher comes up with a hit. Just the 3rd hit of the day for San Francisco. Top of the order now. Here's Andres Torres. Had an inside the park home run yesterday in Colorado. One of 2 inside the park home runs of the day in Major League Baseball.
And
Torres and Brett Gardner.
How about that?
2 of the fastest players in the game. Now, I know Torres is fast, and I know Carlos Gomez is fast, and certainly Brett Gardner is up there as well. I'd love to see those 3 sprint one out, because I don't think it's possible to go from first to home faster than Brett Gardner did yesterday in the New York Yankees.
Yeah.
Man.
That's where you want to see him race. You don't want to have him go straight. I mean, you want to see him go around the bases. Start at home plate and see how fast they can get to home.
0-2 the count to Torres. He's 0 for 2 today. Each club with 3 hits. The Brewers lead it 1-0. 5th inning. Bush has 3 strikeouts at this point, and he's given up just 1 walk. The Brewers will have Corey Hart, Prince Fielder, and Ryan Braun due up. And a swing and a miss. Down he goes on strikes. Bush picks up his 4th strikeout, and now Corey Hart is ready to lead off as we head to the bottom of the 5th. 1-0 Crew. And by Airtran. Go. There's nothing stopping you.
I want to know about your tattoos. What are they pictures of and what do they mean?
This one is for my kids. My little girl was having a lot of bad dreams, so I got the dream catcher with a 4-leaf clover. Lucky thing, and I let them pick a kid pick a charm.
That's great.
So, and then I got my wife. I got a bunch of stuff around. So just one of those things that you kind of start with one and end up with a lot.
See there, a little tattoo talk before the game.
Yeah, dream catcher.
I like the dream catcher. There's always a sentimental story behind the tattoos.
Yeah, just got to ask, right?
Good job, Deuce. Hart leads off, takes a strike. So far today, Corey is 0 for 2. He struck out looking in the first, and then he popped up in the second inning. Stranded, the bases loaded. That time he rips one back up the middle. So Hart with a base hit and a leadoff single at that for Prince Fielder. Hit streak extends to 20 with that single by Hart.
And that's what he's been doing, hitting the ball where it's pitched. Right back through the middle, and a pitch out and away. Took a little bit off of that to Sanchez, but able to bang it into center field.
Now Fielder.
There's only been one inning where the Brewers have not been able to get their leadoff hitter on. That was the first. Every other inning they've been able to do it, but they've only got 1 run.
Longest current hitting streak, Corey Hart. Remember, Josh Hamilton's hit streak ended last week at 23 in the American League. Hart keeps it going here. Boy, what a season he's had. Here's the 2-0, and Fielder takes a strike.
Yeah, Prince with the base hit his last time up. Sanchez this year against left-handed batters, only a 131 batting average. That's it. That's how good he's been against lefties.
Prince has been on twice, has a walk and an infield hit. Beat one into the shift his last time up. That gets away from Posey. And the speedy Hart is into second base on the wild pitch.
Not only his 6th start behind home plate this year. We talked about the fact that when Benji Molina was with the Giants, Posey was playing first base. He made 20-some starts at first. Should have had that one. It was in the dirt, but a pitch that you got to come up with.
Now a runner at second and a hitter's count for Fielder. Posey on his way to the mound. It was a little surprising, and even understanding Posey's potential and his upside as a hitter. But the Giants traded away an excellent defensive catcher in Benji Molina, and here they are in a pennant race. They're 7.5 back. They're still in the hunt with the San Diego Padres. You don't see many teams go to a rookie catcher in the middle of a season while they have a chance in a pennant race. As Fielder draws a walk. Boy, good at bat by Prince Fielder. You can almost tell it by the skip of his step on his way to first.
Yeah. Anytime a left-hander can get on base with Jonathan Sanchez out there, that's a moral victory. Now that's the 2nd time he's been on.
Well, 2 on for the Brewers to start this 5th.
That ties the season high for Sanchez and walks in a game.
Sanchez walked 3 in the 2nd inning, has 6 for the game, and he's given up 4 hits.
I'll check that. That's the most. He'd walked 5 batters 3 different times before today. So 6 is the most.
Sanchez has not been able to get through the 6th inning in a while. You got to go all the way back to June 14th against Baltimore. He went 7 2/3. Since then, Jonathan Sanchez 2 2/3, 5 1/3, and 5 innings in his last 3 starts.
Yeah, 13 innings. That's it.
He's pitching in the 5th here today, and the Brewers a chance to do some damage. They've had plenty of opportunities. Braun on the first pitch bounces one to Uribe to second for one. The turn, and it's not in time. Braun beats it out. The Giants get the lead out at second base. Hart ends up at third base. So 1st and 3rd with just 1 away, and good hustle by Braun legging one out.
And a good pitch by Sanchez. First pitch to Brawny, and he's out on the end. Yeah, Prince trying to create some problems down there. Look at the changeup, and Braun's good speed down the line doesn't allow him to turn the double play. It was close, but he beat it.
Well, how about Freddie Sanchez there with a freight train coming in on him?
Hangs right in there. He's tough. It's a good pitch. Changeup, first pitch to Brawny.
That's a big play there. Braun beating that one out. Now McGee a chance to drive in a run without the benefit of a hit at the very least. 1st and 3rd for the Crew. McGee has a walk and a single tonight. Oh, and 2. McGee with 52 runs batted in. Only Corey Hart with more ribbies as a Brewer this year.
They're giving him a huge hole over there on the right side. Sanchez playing up the middle on the double play. You got Ishikawa holding the runner.
That's where his base hit came. The 1-2 and a swing and a miss. So McGee is out, and a big strikeout for Jonathan Sanchez gives him 2 outs in the inning.
And today's time of the game winner is McGinn's in Milwaukee. It's not far from here. If the Brewers, not Milwaukee, I'm talking about McGinn's, right around the corner.
No, I was with you.
I know you know where Milwaukee is.
We're in Milwaukee.
If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers game this year. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite. It's right down there on Blue Mountain.
And that is not too far from here.
Right.
Good one. Lucroy with 2 outs. The Brewers have stranded 6. And it's going to take a 2-out hit for Lucroy to drive one in. Sanchez already has a wild pitch here. Hart ready to run at third. Ball and a strike. Inning started with a Corey Hart single. Fielder then walked. And a fielder's choice by Braun. In the air to left. Backing up is Burrow. Drifting back with room. Inning over. And 2 more men left on base. Brewers confirmed the oblique strain for Giovanni Gallardo after he left yesterday's game. And they decided not to put Gallardo on the disabled list today. They're going to give it a few more days, and it's possible he could return within the week, within 10 days. But they're going to just let this thing progress and see where he is in the coming days.
Well, great news. I mean, I guess not sure if he's going to be able to make his next start or pitch in the All-Star game, but the fact that they're not sure quite yet, that's good news. And when he went off the field yesterday, it looked like it was going to be trouble.
Gallardo is scheduled to pitch on Friday. And we'll see if Doug Davis goes into that spot. Now, Ken Maka said before the game that Gallardo absolutely would not pitch in the All-Star game. He thought he might be shut down for about 10 days. So if you're going on what the manager says, then it doesn't look like Gallardo is going to be on the mound for a while. But the fact that they did not put him on the disabled list keeps the door open for him. Freddie Sanchez pops it up into right. Hart's got it.
Yeah, the Brewers have had their leadoff hitter aboard in every inning but one. And just on the flip side, the Giants have only had their leadoff hitter aboard once. That was the second inning, a Pat Burrell single. But the Brewers have only been able to get one run on the board. They've left 8 stranded so far. The Giants feel as though they're in the ball game, although they haven't done anything offensively.
And Sanchez has walked 6. Here's Aubrey Huff. Dave Bush going along well. He has 5 1/3 of shutout baseball. He's given up just 3 hits. One of those by the pitcher, Sanchez. That one is lined into the gap. That's going to get down. Braun able to cut it off. Huff is on his way to second. And it's a double. So Aubrey Huff has 2 of the Giants' 4 hits and 2 doubles now.
Now the 2 hot hitters are Huff and Burrell, and the good news for Dave Bush, he's been able to keep the first 2 hitters in the lineup off the bases. Torres and Sanchez combined 0 for 6. So you get this guy up there with nobody on. He's able to take a high fastball, get on top of it. It was a curveball for a double his last time up, and he's able to tomahawk a high fastball for a double this time.
So Huff continues his hitting ways. And here's Pat Burrell, who's been on twice against Dave Bush. Burrell singled in the second inning. He walked his last time up. He's hit 5 home runs for the Giants in just 26 games, after just 2 homers for the Tampa Bay Rays to start the year.
He likes that National League pitching, doesn't he? Had some big years with the Phillies. They let him go. And now back to the comfort zone of the National League.
Well, the Rays had him as their designated hitter. You never know how a player is affected. Burrell, a longtime National Leaguer, played the position, also hit. Gets jammed here, and a fly ball to left. Braun makes a catch, 2 outs in the 6th inning. So Dave Bush just rolling along here. 5 2/3 for Dave Bush. And he's gotten some key outs with some of the Giants' big sluggers up.
And he's mixed it up pretty well. 4 strikeouts. He's been mixing up the fly ball outs and ground ball outs. Really the only hard hit balls that have been on the bat of Aubrey Huff today. Left-handed hitter. He's got a couple of doubles, but he's been able to keep the baseball up the sweet spot of the bat so far.
And you wonder what the Brewers will do here. Despite Sandoval's troubles at the plate this season, he's still a dangerous hitter. The Kung Fu Panda. Well represented here at Miller Park. But only hitting .268 now after an 0 for 2 day so far. Tying run out at second base. How much do you challenge Sandoval with a struggling hitter on deck in Juan Uribe?
I mean, it's not even as much as that. I mean, you can throw pitches off the corners and keep them down and up, and this guy will go after him. He's a very good bad ball hitter. So if you're thinking about putting him on, you just as soon just go and intentionally walk him. That's what we're talking about right there. He knows that, Bush is going to try to expand his strike zone, but that's the kind of hitter Sandoval is anyway. He's up there hacking.
Well, there's an interesting stat out there. The percentage of times Sandoval has offered it a pitch out of the strike zone this year, 42%. They call it the chase rate, and it's the 4th highest in baseball. And some pretty good chasers on that list. He pulls one foul. You know who's at the top of the list. Vladimir Guerrero.
Right.
He's the ultimate chaser.
And it's called the chase rate?
The chase rate.
Now, that's the second time in, I think, in about 3 days that I've heard of a new stat. You know, they came up with one in St. Louis.
The scoop.
The scoops.
Right.
Albert Pujols had what, like 26?
Well, I'm thinking the chase rate is something you could really identify with.
'Cause I did a lot of chasing when I played. My rate was about 75%.
Only Vladimir Guerrero, A.J. Przinsky, and Jeff Francoeur chase more than Pablo Sandoval. How about that? So,
but those guys chase and hit them.
And Bill Schroeder is a broadcaster.
Right.
The 1-2. And a base hit to right. Up with it, Hart. They're going to send Huff. Here comes a throw to the plate. It's off the mark. Throw to second is late. Sandoval makes the Brewers pay.
Yeah, that's what you do. You just go ahead and intensely walk him. I mean, Sandoval's a hitter that, you know, it's very unpredictable. You make good pitches on him, he's going to swing. Swung at some pitches out of the strike zone, and finally Dave Bush threw in one that he was able to handle and banged it into right field. Supposed to be up right down the middle of the plate. Well, sometimes you just take the decision out of the pitcher's hands and just walk him and go after the guy that's 0 for 19. Now it's a tie game.
Yeah, doesn't make sense. Sandoval delivers as Huff scores. A better throw, a throw on line had a chance. Uribe, his woes continue.
0 for 20.
The inning is over. The Giants score as Sandoval ties it. Two outs as well. The only run of the game for the Crew. Now Dave Bush has 4 strikeouts. But the Brewers decide to challenge Sandoval with 2 outs and a runner at second, and he made him pay.
That's a hit scratcher, no doubt about that. With Uribe on deck, hasn't had a hit in a while. And Sandoval ties it up.
All tied at 1 here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Our cousin Subs game reset. So Jonathan Sanchez, who has walked 6, struck out 5, facing Carlos Gomez to start this 6th inning. Well, the Brewers have left a lot of runners on base. 8 stranded so far today through the first 5 innings.
And the Brewers chasing some high fastballs the last couple innings. And Sanchez only throwing low 90s, 90, 91, 92 once in a while, but his velocity is way down, but still able to get it by the Brewer hitters. There's a 93 right there. That might be the quickest he's thrown.
Santiago Casilla loosening for the Giants. Talk about velocity. Wait till you see this guy pitch. He's a triple-digit threat. Into right center field. That ball is well hit. Closing his Huff, and he's got it. Aubrey Huff, he had him shaded in the gap, and he runs it down for the out. Huff scored the run. He doubled with 1 out in the top of this inning, driven in by Sandoval. So 1 out. Here's Escobar. Pitcher spot is due up next. And the Brewers now have activity in their bullpen. Cameron Lowe getting loose. Well, it looks like Dave Bush could be done today. We'll see if Escobar makes it out, what Maka decides to do. Jim Edmonds has moved into the on-deck circle. Escobar walked his last time up, but was immediately picked off as Bush was trying to bunt him over. He has had a challenging couple of days in the big leagues. Alcides Escobar.
Yeah, it's been a character-building couple of days for Alcides. A couple of big errors in yesterday's ball game, resulting in 5 unearned runs. That was in the 4th inning in the game against the Cardinals. Actually, 3rd inning.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Escobar. That one's in the air. Playable for Torres. So 2 outs for Jonathan Sanchez. And here comes Jim Edmonds. Ho-Chunk Gaming texts the broadcast. When a player gets an off day, do they have to do pregame warm-ups or take batting practice? Dan in Williams Bay wants to know.
Yes, they do. They have to show at the ballpark same time everybody else. It's not like they get to show up 10 minutes before the game. You know, they have team stretching right before batting practice, mandatory to be out there at a given time. And a lot of players actually work a lot harder before the game on days that they don't play, just to get some extra work in.
Same routine pretty much every day.
Yeah, you get to the ballpark, you know, most guys for a 7 o'clock game will be there by 2 o'clock. They might hit in the cage. You know, Dale Swain might be flipping them some soft toss. Do they go over some video? You know, lineup is probably posted by 3 o'clock, maybe sooner. Really don't know if you're going to be in the game until you get to the ballpark. So you know, your routine is the same.
One-two to Edmonds, and he bangs one through for a base hit. Edmonds with a 4-hit game on Saturday. Singles in a pinch hitter's role in the 6th inning to keep the inning alive and get it back to the top of the order, and Ricky Weeks.
Yeah, 2 of the 5 hits coming from left-handers. Prince got one earlier, and now Edmonds. Very rare for left-handers to get base hits off of Sanchez.
So Weeks is in, a home run threat. All tied at 1 here in the bottom of the 6th inning at Miller Park. It's a 1-1 game. It's a pitcher's duel. It doesn't feel that way.
No. There's been men on base for the Brewers all day. A hit here and there, the Brewers could have a 5-1 lead.
8 left on. Got a man on here with 2 outs and a swing and a miss.
There's that fastball again, only 90 miles an hour. And right by Ricky. Ricky, a good fastball hitter.
Weeks can provide instant offense. Oh, and a big cut. 1-2.
Yep, fastball first pitch, and then Sanchez comes back with a changeup, and Ricky out in front.
Sanchez working in his 6th inning. And the 1-2, and he throws it away. That slipped out of his hand. Edmonds to second. That's the second wild pitch for Jonathan Sanchez. And now Edmonds is in scoring position, representing the go-ahead run.
Well, just a bit outside. Not by much. How can you not call that a strike? So, I've been saying the strike zone's very small this year.
It showed there. He hit the bull. Well, a big opportunity here. The Brewers today are 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Weeks a chance to change all that. The only run came on a Weeks walk in the 2nd. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Edmonds with a big lead at second base. Should score on a base hit. And that skips away. And Edmonds on his way to third. That ball is dangerously close to the dugout. That almost bounced in the dugout. It's still just one base, but Edmonds, as it rattled around between the bat boys, thought about scoring for a moment.
And if it goes in the dugout, it's 1 from the mound and 2 from the field. And until you get to third base, you wouldn't be able to score. If it goes into the dugout, Edmonds has to stay at third. One more, though. How about one more?
One more will get another run in. Edmonds has been wild pitched all the way to third. Full count to Weeks. Steve Wright struck him out. Weeks takes a called strike 3. The inning is over. The Brewers strand a runner at third. 9 left on here today. Right down the heart. Next bottle, taste greatness. And by Toyota. Thank you for standing by us. For more information, visit buyatoyota.com. Our Miller Lite What's on Tap. The Brewers and the Giants back at it tomorrow. It's a 4-game series. 6:30 is airtime on Fox Sports Wisconsin the next 2 nights, and then it's a 12:30 airtime on Thursday, a matinee to finish the series. After the Giants series, the Pirates come to town Friday. 7-game homestand prior to the All-Star break. Hope you'll make plans to be with us. The Brewers were in a long homestand last time around, a 6-3 homestand. 4 quick games on the road, and now right back at Miller Park. New pitcher is Cameron Lowe in relief of Dave Bush, and he inherits a 1-1 ball game in the 7th.
Yeah, pitched in yesterday's game against the Cardinals. Pitched an inning, gave up a run, gave up a home run. The first of the year for Lowe. Well, he's been terrific. That sinking fastball has been very good, and the curveball has really started to come around.
Lowe will face the bottom of the Giants order. Buster Posey, Travis Ishikawa, and then the pitcher spot. Probably see a pinch hitter for Sanchez. Final numbers on Dave Bush. And unfortunate that he will not have a chance at a win here today.
Yeah, 4th consecutive very good start for Dave Bush. So he's going into the All-Star break in pretty good shape. He'll have one more start.
Bouncing ball that is through for a base hit. Buster Posey with a single to left, and the Giants have a leadoff runner aboard.
Yeah, second time. Last time it was way back in the 2nd inning. And Posey able to wait back. They tried to come inside on him. Left it a little bit out over the plate, and Posey got it before it sunk too much and able to find its way into left field. Nice short stroke by the Giants catcher.
You'd think when Cameron Lowe entered a game, they'd come out and they'd water the infield right in front of home plate.
Looks like they did.
They didn't, but they should. Water it down, get it nice and soggy over there.
And see how much darker it is right there in front of home plate. I mean, do that. You know, Dave Bush is a pitcher that you would think would rely on the ground ball.
Just tailoring the ballpark.
I remember the Brewers used to do that. I mean, every team did that right around first base, you know, where the base runner took leads when Ricky Henderson was in town.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be so wet, it'd be muddy over there. Yeah, we got a ground ball, sinker ball pitcher. You want to soften that area up so you don't have those one hoppers over the infield.
There's a strike to Ishikawa. Giants first baseman. Hits that one hard but foul. Ball at 2 strikes on Ishikawa. We saw Ishikawa's debut a couple of years ago when the Brewers opened in 08. He got a little time at 06 in the big leagues, but he was given the job to start the year in 08. Didn't last long. Last year was his first full season in the big leagues. He had 261. On the ground, Escobar cannot make the play. It's into center field. Well, it looked like it was right in the wheelhouse of Escobar. Could have started it.
A couple of ground balls find their way into the outfield, so Cameron Lowe doing his job getting the ground balls. There's that curveball we were talking about. It's a good pitch. Good piece of hitting by Ishikawa and just out of Escobar's reach. Hey, another foot, that would have been a double play. That's a good piece of hitting. Check out the way he goes down and gets it. A little bit out in front, but able to adjust his swing and bang it into center field.
Well, Jonathan Sanchez will be lifted from this game, and a pinch hitter is coming on, Edgar Renteria. Renteria hitting .305, just 34 games this year.
Yeah, he's been on a disabled list twice. Once with a groin, once with a hamstring.
A World Series hero. And he bunts one foul. That's interesting. They remove Sanchez from the game, and Renteria's up there to bunt.
Hey, you'd think you'd throw a pitcher up there and do that.
Renteria does not have a sacrifice bunt this year. Jonathan Sanchez has 5 of them. See the final numbers on Sanchez. 6 innings, 1 run. He still has a chance to win this game if the Giants score and hang on in this inning.
They have 5 hits, 6 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Interesting line, but he hung in there. Brewers had men on base in every inning, but 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position.
Well, he stranded 9 on base, did Sanchez. Well, Edgar Renteria and Craig Counsell will forever be linked together. At 97 Marlins club, it was Counsell who scored the winning run. The man who drove him in was the man in your screen, Edgar Renteria. Squares again, takes a ball. Good memories for Counsell. They still have that image of Counsell scoring the World Series winning run on the outfield wall in Miami. 1997. Squares again, and he bunts one. He pops it up. Luke Croy's got it. So Bochy sends Renteria up there to bunt with no sacrifice bunts this year, and he pops it up for the out.
Yeah, a little game of curveball. Watch the barrel of the bat for Renteria. Goes straight down. Tough part of this play for Luke Croy is to find where the ball is. Toughest play for a catcher. You initially look in fair territory. You look up, and then he's able to get back and make the catch. Good play. Watch the barrel of the bat. Straight down. You're going to pop it up just about every time.
Now could be a big out. Now a ground ball double play will get the Brewers out of the inning. Luke Croy's got to do some repair work on his shin guard.
And so fast he jumped right out of his shin guards.
That's my recurring nightmare, by the way. An entire stadium waiting for me to put the shin guards on.
Yeah.
I can't get them on. Quick fix for Luke Croy. No assistance needed. Two on with 1 out. Oh, he starts with a curveball. Lowe throwing a lot more breaking balls these days.
Yeah, been a good one. Talking about that when he came in. I mean, he's relying a lot on his curveball in recent outings. He threw a really good one to Ishikawa, but he went down and got it.
Torres very fast, tough to double up. He'd have to hit a rocket right at someone. All 3 Brewers outfielders with strong arms. And that one is down and in. 3 balls, no strikes on Andres Torres. That one missed. Not by much, but it's ball 4 on 4 straight. Torres draws the walk. Bases loaded here with 1 out. And a former batting champion will dig in, Freddie Sanchez.
That's a pretty good at bat by Torres. I mean, a couple of pitches didn't miss by much. Look at this one. I'm not going to get it when you're down in the count 3-0.
And here comes Rick Peterson to the mound.
Well, the Giants lead the National League in grounding into double plays, and Cameron Lowe could use one right here. Freddie Sanchez makes good contact, not that fast. Cameron Lowe relies on the ground ball with that heavy sinker. Maybe the conversation between Rick Peterson and Lowe, work that sinker. Don't make a mistake with the curveball. Get the ball down in the zone.
Sanchez with 4 ground ball double plays this year. And he rips one left field line, foul, just missed the line. Brewers catch a break.
Got it up in the strike zone, and Freddie Sanchez going after first pitch. And just missing that left field line.
No balls and a strike, 1 man out. Giants with the bases loaded, their best threat to score today. Bouncing ball, got to hurry here. Escobar bobbles. The throw to second is late. Another run is in.
Boy, he's having a tough time. Not sure if they were going to be able to turn the double play. Sanchez got out of that box very quickly, but loses an opportunity for an out. And Alcides Escobar's defensive struggles continue.
The Giants have taken the lead here. 2-1 San Francisco. Bases still loaded, and that's going to be it for Cameron Lowe. And Escobar continues to have his struggles defensively. We'll take a break. We'll set up the new pitcher when we come back. Bat come up in Aubrey Huff. Ken Maka goes to Zach Braddock.
Now Braddock with his 17th appearance so far this year, 21 strikeouts in 14 innings. Pitched yesterday in St. Louis and threw a 3-up, 3-down 7th inning.
Freddie Sanchez with a fielder's choice and an RBI to put the Giants ahead 2-1. And Zach Braddock ready to face Aubrey Huff. This is the one bat in this Giants lineup that you're fearful of when the day begins. Huff with 2 doubles, 15 home runs, 47 driven in. He has been their best hitter this year. Against left-handed pitching, Aubrey Huff hitting .262 with 4 of his 15 home runs. Bases loaded, 1 out. The Brewers need a ground ball. Ishikawa, the runner at third base. He reached on a single. Got Torres at second. He reached on a walk, and then Sanchez, the fielder's choice, in the RBI. Almost hit him.
Zach Braddock, Cameron Lowe, they've been getting an awful lot of work since they've been called up from AAA. Ken Maka has shown a lot of confidence in him, and why not? Both of them have been pretty good.
Braddock in a big spot here in the 7th inning. Gives you an idea of his stuff, his fastball, and a fastball count. Huff cannot square up.
Yeah, throw one up in the strike zone. Number's not too bad against left-handed batters for Huff. Take that.
Another one by him. 2-2.
Do it again. Just don't make a mistake with a breaking ball. Leave it up. Blows it right by him on the inside part of the plate. Inner half.
Bases full of Giants. Huff with 2 doubles today. He's grounded into 7 double plays this year. And he lifts one high in the air, foul. That's in the seats. Yesterday, the Giants lost in 15 innings. Aubrey Huff, however, in the 13th, tripled to open the inning. And a big hit. There's a foul tip right off the mask.
He left that slider up in the zone, and Huff had a pretty good whack at it. And right off the mask of Sam Holbrook.
Got them both.
Yeah.
A double whammy.
A glancing blow off of Jonathan's mask.
2-2. We'll do it again. Braddock deals. And off the end of the bat, that's going to fall for a base hit. Ishikawa will score. Here comes Torres. The throw to the plate is late. 2 RBIs for Huff. The Giants have a 4-1 lead.
Good at bat by Aubrey Huff. He's been a nemesis today for the Brewers. His third base hit. And got a pitch up out over the plate. Didn't hit it hard, but able to make contact and drive in a couple of runs. Boy, what's happened to this game? Fastball up and away. He covers that outside part of the plate pretty well. We've seen that today. Not hit all that hard, and because of that, Torres is able to score easily from second base.
Still just 1 out. First and second now. And a big cut by Burrell. Aubrey Huff with his 3rd hit. Now 49 RBIs for the year. Giants lead 4-1. 3 runs are in. All 4 runs coming in the last 2 innings. And a costly error by Escobar.
Could very well have ended the inning. You don't know. Not sure if they're going to be able to turn a double play, but well, you have so many opportunities early in the ball game and not able to cash in. Sooner or later, you figure the Giants are going to get some runs.
Well, the Brewers 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position. They've left 9 on base. 0-2 to Pat Burrell. Center field. Gomez drifting back. Sanchez is going to tag at second. And Gomez's throw comes to second base. So the second out. Burrell is retired. F8. And the Giants with runners at the corners for Pablo Sandoval. As you see David Risky in the bullpen. Sandoval drove in the first Giants run. He tied it last inning. An RBI single to right that scored Aubrey Huff, who had doubled with 1 out. The Brewers will have Hart, Fielder, and Braun due up in the 7th. So they are where they want to be in their batting order. That one skips by Lucroy. Another run's going to score. And this one's turning ugly fast. 5-1 now, Giants. A wild pitch. All those runs belong to Cameron Lowe.
Well, a slider down in the dirt, and not sure if anybody better get in front of that one. John Lucroy slides over, not able to get low enough, and skips right by him, and another run in.
It's been a 4-run inning for the Giants. Huff now at second. Well, Dave Bush was rolling along, 6 innings, just 1 run. Giants have done all of their scoring in the last 2 innings. One and 2 on Sandoval. His at bat in the 6th was a key at bat. Came up with a base hit with 2 strikes. 2 out, 2 strike single and an RBI. Pulled one as a left-handed hitter through the hole between first and second.
Man, you wonder if Ken Maka had it do over again if he would have walked him intentionally. Brought up Uribe with 2 outs.
Got him. So Braddock strikes out Sandoval. The inning is over, but the Giants do big damage. They score 4 runs. It's 5-1. The big boys are coming up when we come back to Miller Park.
Giants. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning. The Giants able to take advantage of the Brewers' missed opportunities, namely looking at runners in scoring position. 0 for 9 so far in this game, and they busted things open to that 4-run top of the 7th.
Yeah, you talk about the importance of this homestand. When you get the opportunities, you have to score. So far today, it hasn't been good for the Brewers.
All right, we'll see what they can do left here. We've got 3 more innings of baseball to go. Also, our on-field instructional coming up after the ball game. Pitchers position on the mound, towing the rubber. How a lefty does it, how a righty does it. Jerry's going to break it down with Bill coming up after the ball game. Brewers Live, presented by Lincoln Mercury. Our post-game report on the way, guys.
All right, Craig, Jerry, thank you. No better guy to talk about pitching than Jerry Augustine. New pitcher for the Giants, it's Santiago Casilla, and he'll face Corey Hart to start the 7th. 5-1 San Francisco after a 4-run 7th inning. And the flamethrower Casilla on to work for the first time against the Brewers.
Yeah, spent the last couple of years with the Oakland Athletics. You could see the strikeout numbers, 25 in just a little over 15 innings of work. Got a fastball slider. They say his fastball gets up to about 97 miles an hour.
From the Dominican Republic. One and one on Hart, who has a hit here today, extended his hitting streak to 20 games. Aubrey Huff moves to left field, and Nate Shearholtz in right. Pat Burrell taken out of the game. Hart into right field. That's slicing away from Shearholtz. He runs it down. Well, good catch. The defensive change for Bruce Bochy pays off in this 7th inning. Nice play out there by Shearholtz.
When the ball finds you, doesn't it? It seems like whenever you come into a ball game, somebody's going to test you. Not by design, but it just works out that way. But Shearholtz right there to make the catch. And Corey Hart once again hitting the ball where it's pitched. Nice inside out stroke, driving it to the opposite field, and a nice catch by Shearholtz.
First man is out. They put the shift on for Fielder. Well, Fielder against the left-handed pitcher, Jonathan Sanchez, on base all 3 times. He beat the shift with an infield hit in the 3rd inning. Sanchez walked him twice. The Giants starter is in line for the win despite 6 walks today. Brewers just could not come up with the big hit against Sanchez with men on base. Stranding the bases loaded in the 2nd inning and leaving 2 on in 2 different innings. At the plate, presented by Wendy's. Fielder 1 for 1 with 2 walks. And Prince is aboard again. So he walked him on 4 straight. 4th time he's been on base today, Prince Fielder. And now Ryan Braun with a man on.
Yeah, Brewers need base runners, and see if somebody can knock one out of here. That's the way the Brewers score their runs, with the home run ball. Get some men on and get back in this game.
So far today, Braun is 0 for 3. Twice he has swung at the first pitch and bounced out. He did beat out a fielder's choice in the 5th inning. And a good cut. 1-1. There's only one other game going on in the National League. That's in Arizona, the Diamondbacks and the Cubs. Cubs lead 7-4. Fukudome is homered in that game for the Cubs. Adam LaRoche for the D-backs. That game's in the bottom of the 7th inning. Cubs got bounced around by the Cincinnati Reds over the weekend.
Things getting ugly in Chicago. Things aren't going very well.
I'm wondering if the Cubs will be sellers at the trade deadline. I know there's a lot of interest for Ted Lilly out there, who is a free agent at the end of the season. The 2-1. 2-2 the count on Braun. That's a decision all general managers have to make. You're going to be a buyer or a seller, or do you stand pat? The Brewers open the day 9.5 back of the Reds.
Yeah, the Cubs 12 games under 500 right now. That's a stunner.
Big payroll, a lot of talent, a lot of big names on that Cubs roster. The 2-2. Breaking ball. Braun lays off. Good take. 3-2 the count. Well, we had Mark Atanasio in the booth prior to this stretch of home games, and he said this 20-game stretch will help him determine whether the Brewers are going to be buyers or sellers, whether they're going to make a trade, try to get something back in return, or whether they make a trade to make a push this year.
Yeah, Brewers have all the big league scouts in town with this homestand to circle the wagons to determine what they want to do.
3-2 pitch, and Braun strikes out. So a slider from Casilla gets Ryan Braun. 2 outs in the inning. And Braun struggles at the plate continue.
And he's having a rough time swinging a lot of pitches out of the strike zone, being a little bit over anxious, but that's a pretty good pitch. With 2 strikes, Ryan chases it and comes up empty.
Casey McGee now with Fielder at first. 5-1 Giants, bottom of the 7th inning. Tonight, the Braves and the Phillies will start their series. Derek Lowe against Roy Halladay. Hard to believe Halladay has lost 7 games.
Yeah.
He's 9-7 with a 2.42 ERA. Base hit to right. That's going to go to the wall. Fielder around second, trucking his way to third, and he'll be held up there. Casey McGee with a double. Second and third for the Brewers as McGee comes up with a 2-out hit.
Yeah, no sense in chancing that. Down by 4 runs. The only way to send Prince if he's able to score standing up. This run doesn't mean anything. Brewers, as we mentioned, need base runners. Have somebody knock one out of here. Good piece of hitting by Casey McGee. A high fastball out over the plate. Lets it get in on him and drives it to the opposite field. Rattles around in that corner, and Brad Fisher does the right thing, holding Prince at third.
And you wonder if Buster Posey knows just how fortunate he is. He might send Brad Fisher a little thank you note. Second and third now. We'll see if the Brewers can cash it in. Lucroy up there again. McGee has 2 hits today. Well, the Brewers need to chip away when they can. You figure at some point the Brewers are going to come up with a big hit with a runner in scoring position.
That would be good.
The law of averages tell you that's going to happen soon.
See, they've got Jonathan played pretty much straight away on the infield and the outfield. Not very deep in the outfield.
Tied him up. Big fastball there.
And 97. 97 with some life on it, some late movement.
Santiago Casilla. Putting together some of the best numbers of his career at 30 years of age. Kind of been bouncing back and forth between the big leagues and the minor leagues in the Oakland A's organization. Moved across the bay to San Francisco. Ball and a strike. That one's in there. Strike two. Another 97-mile-an-hour fastball, and Lucroy is in a hole. Lucroy was up with 2 men on in the third inning. Flew out to center field. He was up with 2 on in the fifth. And flew out to left. A chopper over to third. Sandoval. The throw to first in time. The inning is over. And the Brewers have now left 11 men on base. Still 5-1. Threatening skies early. Thought they might have to close the roof at one point, but we've kept it open, and now some blue skies up above.
Sun's coming out. A late barbecue at the Anderson Ranch tonight.
I think it might be time to fire up the grill. 5-1 our score. The Giants lead the Brewers after a 4-run seventh, and Rocket's going to be David Risky for the eighth.
Well, David Risky, you see that earned run average at 2.08. His 10th game, throwing the baseball well. Not big velocity, but those split-fingered fastballs have been very good. He's got 2 of them, one that he throws for a strike and one a strikeout pitch.
Facing Juan Uribe here to start the 8th inning. Well, the Brewers still have time. It's been a frustrating day offensively for Milwaukee with 11 left on. The Giants have one of the best closers in the National League, and an all-star closer at that in Brian Wilson.
22 saves for Wilson. There's a guy that can touch triple digits. Brian Wilson, fastball.
So he shortens the game for sure. There's Wilson sitting next to Tim Lincecum. You don't often see starting pitchers out in the bullpen.
Too intense in a dugout.
I think with all the relievers that were used yesterday, just a threat. Tim, go sit in the bullpen. You never know. back-to-back Cy Youngs.
Although Tim Lincecum doesn't look like a guy that's stressed out all that much.
No, he's a pretty easygoing guy.
Laid back. Until he gets on the mound, of course.
We'll see Lincecum here against the Brewers later in this series. Lincecum scheduled to pitch against Chris Narveson on Wednesday. Uribe pops it up in the infield. And Weeks makes the catch for out number 1 here in the 8th inning. David Riskey coming back from a Tommy John surgery. He will be a free agent at season's end. Now, with most contending clubs right now, they're looking for pitching. A lot of clubs looking for some bullpen help. And with the case of some of the West Coast teams like the Padres, the Giants, they're looking for a bat.
Yeah, their starting pitching comes around. They've been kind of a lull, these Giants pitching starting rotation, which is kind of an unusual thing given the starting pitching that they have. You get a couple of hitters in that lineup, they could be tough. Good bullpen, some hard throwers.
Posey, a big cut and a miss. Now the Giants are hoping that Posey will settle in. He looks like he might have hurt himself here. Well, that's the last thing the Giants want to see.
That's a big hack right there. You see him grimacing as he drops the bat. Wrist, forearm, something like that.
Yeah, checking his left hand. A 23-year-old rookie catcher. Giants are hoping Posey can give him an offensive lift. They traded away Benji Molina, picked up 2 players from the Rangers for Molina. It's a lot to ask. But Posey hitting .300 to start the day. And he hits that one hard to right field. Corey Hart is back, and that ball is gone. Buster Posey, an opposite field home run. And the Giants have a 6-1 lead as Posey goes deep for the 3rd time.
I guess his wrist is all right. And just playing possum. I'll make them think my hands hurt. They'll throw me a fastball and I'll knock it out of here. How about that? Wow. There you go.
This is the swing and the miss.
Yep, got a bad arm. I can't swing.
Next pitch.
Next pitch, fastball down the middle. See you later. Some guys can't be trusted. That's a nice swing. Is that what you were going to say?
It really is. Opposite field power stroke.
Yeah.
From a young guy. That'll play for a long time, huh? Still checking on him. Into center field, Gomez. 2 outs. I don't know, it hurts, but when I hit it on the barrel over the fence, it seems like it's okay.
It only hurts when I swing and miss. So what's the doctor say?
Don't swing and miss, Buster. It's a good baseball name, isn't it? Buster?
Yeah.
So 2 outs. Nate Shearholtz, who entered the game defensively last inning on the double switch. Well, you get the feeling today the Brewers were holding together the dam as long as they could before the Giants broke out of it. And on the other side, the Brewers have had their chances to open it up and have not been able to take advantage.
Well, defense let them down. That's the 2nd consecutive day where shoddy defense has Cost the Brewers a bunch of runs.
Ricky Weeks makes a play, and the inning is over. And we head to the bottom of the 8th, see if the Brew Crew can come off the deck here. They trail 6-1. Up a little bit. Sanchez and Aubrey Huff with RBIs. Huff drove in a pair. That was back in the 7th inning. A 4-run 7th inning. There was a key error in that inning as well. And then Buster Posey with a home run to the opposite field just a moment ago. 6-1 San Francisco. Aubrey Huff has been the star offensively. 3 hits, 2 RBIs, 2 doubles. As we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Now, Chris Ray is on the mound for the Giants. This is one of the 2 players the Giants acquired in the Benji Molina trade. Ray was just here with the Texas Rangers, pitched twice against the Brewers in that series back in the 2nd week of June.
Had 35 appearances with the Texas Rangers, had a 2-0 record, a 3.41 ERA, his 3rd outing for the San Francisco Giants.
Gomez pops it up in the infield. Freddie Sanchez makes a catch. 1 out. Chris Ray, a good reliever. It speaks to the depth of the Rangers. They had catching problems over there in Arlington. So with so many arms in their minor league system, they were able to give up a quality major league reliever to get a quality major league catcher, but it cost him a big prospect from their minor league system.
Yep, had some injury problems behind the plate, did the Rangers. Rangers are having a pretty good season. You know, currently 3.5 games ahead of the Angels in the West. Got to have a catcher. It's tough, you know, if you're the Giants, you give up not only your starting catcher, who has done a very good job in calling the game for this pitching staff, but you lose your cleanup hitter. 2 tough things to give up.
Yep. That's how much they think of Buster Posey. And Molina was not hitting this year. There's a bouncer, a broken bat over to Sandoval. Nice play to get Escobar. 2 quick outs. Now Matt Trainer was catching for the Rangers, and it still is catching. He's had a great year. I mean, he's a guy that has helped the Rangers along, but there's some questions about his durability as well. He's not a guy who can catch every day, so that's why the Rangers felt compelled to make the deal. The young prospect that was traded with Chris Ray, a guy by the name of Michael Maine. And he is a highly touted prospect, so you never know. We'll see in a couple of years if it ends up being a good trade for the Giants. It's risky in that you turn the keys over to a rookie catcher. But the Giants felt like they had to make this move. They think Posey is an offensive threat, something they desperately need. So maybe instead of going out and trading for a bat, they might have just found one in their system.
Here in the middle of a pennant race, the Giants feel as though they're still in it. And they get some offense. Rotation starts to come around. It's tough to lose one of your team leaders, quarterback and defense. Benji Molina. Put some pressure on that young man.
Joe Inglet pinch hitting. Speaking of former Rangers, Joe Inglet, he never donned a Texas Rangers uniform. He was only a Ranger on paper this offseason. Rangers snatched him up from the Blue Jays in the Rule 5 draft, and then when Texas signed Khalil Green to a free agent deal, that made Inglet available. The Brewers grabbed him. In the air to right, Shearholtz makes the catch in a quick 1-2-3 inning for Chris Ray. And you see the Giants scoring all of their runs in the last 3 innings. Big hits from Aubrey Huff, a fielder's choice and an RBI by Freddie Sanchez. Pablo Sandoval put the Giants on the board. Chris Capuano is on the mound here at Miller Park. He'll have the 9th.
Cappy's getting a few more opportunities lately. It was a long stretch between Capuano's start with the Marlins against the Marlins, and he's been in 3 ball games in a short period of time. Ken Maka asking him to finish this one out here in the 9th inning. 6th appearance for Capuano and a 4.50 ERA.
Top of the order for the Giants here in the 9th. Andres Torres leading off. Torres walked and scored his last time up. Very fast Giants center fielder. Hit hard into left. Braun makes the catch. Closing fast on the line drive, and Torres is retired.
Now the Brewers have done a nice job with the top of the order for the Giants today. Number 1 and 2 in the batting order, hitless so far. Ordinarily, when you do that, you're going to have success, but that's not been the case today. It's been the bottom of the order getting on base for the Giants, and the middle of the order been driving in all the runs.
Well, bottom three in the Giants order scoring half of their runs today. Sanchez fouls it away. Capuano pitched Saturday in St. Louis. Prior to that, he pitched against the Astros twice in that series in a span of 2 days. But from June 3rd to June 28th, made just 3 appearances, did Capuano. And during one stretch, he didn't pitch for 16 days. It's amazing he was able to get anybody out when he came back. But Capuano has given up just the 4 runs. He gave up 3 runs in his first appearance. He made a start that day for the Brewers on June 3rd. Gave up a run in his second time out against Texas and has not allowed a run since.
It's very unusual to be, relatively sharp when you're not pitching a lot, particularly when you rely on, command of the fastball. Capuano, what's he topping out at? About 87, 88 miles an hour. And a good changeup. Ordinarily need a lot of work for those pitches to be where you want them.
Base hit to left. So Freddie Sanchez with his first hit. And the Giants have a base runner for Aubrey Huff. And he has been a nemesis here today. Our Menards player of the game at this point. Aubrey Huff, 3 hits in 4 at-bats. He's driven in a pair. Had 2 big RBIs in the 7th inning. And opened it up for San Francisco. Giants took the lead on a Sanchez RBI fielder's choice, and then Huff added to it. Now Bruce Bochy feels like Aubrey Huff should get some all-star consideration. If there are some injuries that allow spots on the roster, Aubrey Huff could be the man to go. He was highly ranked on the player poll.
Now the 2 representatives for the Giants, obviously Tim Lincecum and closer Brian Wilson. Pretty good choices.
It's funny that Lincecum, although he gracefully accepted the all-star selection, he doesn't feel like he's pitching well. And says he needs to be a lot better. He doesn't feel like an all-star. That was his comments.
He sets the bar high for himself, hasn't he?
With back-to-back Cy Young awards.
Tough to live up to that every single year. Tim Lincecum right now 3rd in the National League in strikeouts behind Adam Wainwright, who's first, and Yovani Gallardo.
Inside, ball 4, and Huff is aboard for the 4th time.
Lincecum, I'm sorry, is not amongst the top 10 in earned run average right now.
But still a good ERA in the low 3s, but he's had struggles here lately. See the 2 Giants all-stars sitting next to each other, Lincecum and Wilson. Somebody's holding court down there. They got Sergio Romo. It's a good conversation. 2 on for the Giants with 1 away in the 9th. And it'll be Aaron Rowan to pinch hit for the pitcher. Rowan, the big bat, out of the Giants lineup today. 6-1 San Francisco. And most of this big crowd of over 36,000 is on to alternate plans here. And a frustrating day for Brewers fans. A lot of base runners early. Looked like they were ready to break this game open at any point. Had the bases loaded and nobody out in the second inning, did the Brewers. Managed just one, and that one is still on the board. That's all they've gotten today.
If they're scoring a bunch of runs on Saturday with Chris Carpenter on the mound, Brewer was able to put up 12 runs the last 2 days, a combined 2 runs. One yesterday against Wainwright, that Corey Hart solo home run, and a bases loaded walk today.
One and two the count on Aaron Rowand. Well, the Cubs have tacked a couple on against the Diamondbacks. That game's in the bottom of the ninth. Cubs lead at 9-4. Matter of fact, it just ended. It's final now, 9-4 Chicago. Diamondbacks being managed by Kirk Gibson. 4 managers to be fired so far this year. That was a swift move by the Diamondbacks.
Yes.
Not only firing their manager, A.J. Hinch, but also their general manager. Bouncing ball to third. McGee to second for one. The turn in time, a double play. The inning is over. To the bottom of the ninth we go. Last call for the Crew. Giants lead it as we head to the home ninth. Last call for Milwaukee, and they will send up the top of the batting order. New pitcher for the Giants. It's left-hander Dan Runzler. See the numbers on Runzler this year. He's been pretty good out of that Giants bullpen.
Yeah, one of those lefties that has a pretty good arm. He can get it into the low to mid 90s. A slider, a pretty good changeup. 349 earned run average. More strikeouts than innings pitched. And he's only allowed 1 home run.
Had a little time last year with the Giants. Pitched in 11 games. Well, he's been there the entire season this season. Dave Righetti has good things to say about Dan Runzler, a left-hander in his own right. Dave Righetti is 1 day removed from an anniversary, Rock. He threw a no-hitter back in 1983 for the Yankees.
In Yankee Stadium.
On the 4th of July. Struck out Wade Boggs for the final out. Righetti, the Giants pitching coach. Ricky Weeks. And Runzler starts him with a strike. The Brewers will send Randy Wolf to the mound tomorrow against lefty Madison Bumgarner. Giants have 3 lefties going against the Brewers, and the Brewers have 3 lefties against the Giants the next 3 nights.
Yeah, take that.
Baumgartner tomorrow for the Giants, then Lincecum on Wednesday. Barry Zito pitches Thursday afternoon.
So it'll be 4 left-handers the Brewers are facing on this homestand.
This is what it looks like the rest of the series. Madison Bumgarner, he's a young talent, just getting his feet wet in the big leagues, matching up against the veteran Randy Wolf. Narveson against Lincecum, Parra against Zito, and Friday still up for grabs. Doug Davis looks like he's ready to return to the starting rotation. I can't imagine that Giovanni Gallardo would make a start on Friday. So Davis is in for Friday against the Pirates against another lefty in Paul Mahalem. Backhanded by Uribe. Weeks is retired. So the Brewers will have 4 consecutive left-handers on the mound the rest of the way.
Yeah. No, and that was the concern for Ken Maka once Doug Davis returned to the rotation, which one of his starters were going to be sent to the bullpen. I guess that's what would happen. Although he did say one of his years.
As Hart bangs one into left center. Hart thinking about 2. He's on his way. The throw to second base is late. It's a hustle double for Corey Hart. What a bright spot he has been. He is on base for the 5th. Check that, for the 2nd time with his 2nd hit after extending his hitting streak to 20 games in the 5th.
Yeah, just really centering on the baseball pretty well right now. But, you know, Ken Maka did say that when he was with the Oakland A's, he had 1 year or a stretch where he had 4 guys in the rotation. Of course, 2 of those lefties were Mark Mulder and Barry Zito. That helps. Yep, this is a double that you get right out of the box. Any kind of hesitation or not thinking you're going to make 2, you're not going to be able to if you're not hustling right out of the batter's box.
Well, he is effortless speed, isn't he?
Those long strides. 6'6", long strides, and he picks up a lot of ground. Not a lot of strides.
A couple of years ago, the Brewers ran 60-yard dashes for time in spring training, and I think everybody knew that Corey Hart was fast. I mean, he's a fast runner. You know that watching him every day. He's a great base runner, but I don't think they knew he was the fastest Brewer. I'll never forget that race. That's when Billy Hall broke out the track gear that day. At the Michael Johnson look. Hart can really run. Fielder would like to get him on the run here. Pick up an RBI. He's been on base 4 times, Prince Fielder. 3 walks and an infield hit. And a strike on the outside corner. Fielder is rung up. And an about face for the 2nd out.
Yeah, it looked like a pitch that was very close to that outside corner, a fastball. That looks like a pretty good pitch. A little bit too close to take with 2 strikes. Frustrating day for Prince and the rest of the Brewers.
So here's Braun with 2 outs and a strike. 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position today. And 11 stranded. That pretty much sums up the afternoon. 0-2 to Braun. Ryan is 0 for 4 today. Did reach base on a fielder's choice in the 5th. Back in prime time tomorrow, 6:30 is airtime for Brewers Live in high definition. The next 2 nights, start times of 7:10, or first pitch times, I should say. Thursday is an afternoon game, and then the Pirates come in Friday. Braun with a 1-2 count in the dirt. Good play. 2-2.
Pretty good slider. 86 miles an hour on the slider. Baumgartner, I should say, Runzler has been throwing that fastball upwards around 95.
Reaching back for a little extra. 2-2 as Braun was late. There's Narveson and Doug Davis. Well, you know, Doug Davis is anxious to get back on a big league mound. Made a start in Appleton last week, pitched well. The 2-2. And down goes Braun. And this one is over. The Giants win it. A 6-1 victory. They take game 1 of this series. Still much more to come on this game. Craig Deshawn, what do you have coming up for us on Brewers Live, sponsored by Lincoln Mercury?
Well, thanks a lot, Brian. We're going to get inside that Brewer clubhouse as per normal. Also get a health update on Giovanni Gallardo. Hope to hear from him. Not going on the DL.